everyone, Amy Ramsey, the business doula here, helping you birth your business and launch your life. And today I'm super excited because I've got one of my clients here with me, Kyle. And Kyle he's got this amazing story, first of all, and I love what he's up to. He's this amazing raw vegan chef. What I love about Kyle, and the reason why I wanted to bring him on, is Kyle is a brand new client. He's only been with me for, I don't know, a week or two from us recording this video, and Kyle has already seen these like huge moments happen in his business. But the process for Kyle to step into coaching, he was a lot like so many of you, and first of all, I want to say thank you so much, Kyle, for being so open and vulnerable and being willing to be here and share with everybody a bit about your story, because I do feel like it's going to help some people out there who are kind of on the fence around their business.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yay! So why don't you share a bit about, like, what was it like for you before stepping into coaching? What was going on in your business, and kind of what did things look like for you?
I think before stepping into coaching, I was kind of just looking for all of the free information that I could get and getting it from so many different people. So there was just like a huge load of information, and I didn't know what to do with it. And also, I feel like I just wasn't focusing on the right things in my business. I didn't know where to go or how to create the consistent income.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was huge for me.
Yeah. So that is so common, first of all, like the information overload, to the extent where, like, one of the things I have my clients do, which if I haven't asked you to do this yet, you should do this, is really, unsubscribe from everything. Like, just follow me. There are a few other people I would have you follow specifically, but in general, it's a good lesson for everybody, because there is an information overload, and there's a lot of different ways to do business. And so the issues with, going out and getting all the free stuff, it's amazing. Like, people have amazing free content. Like, I give a ton of stuff away. I'm constantly doing, trainings and webinars, but at the end of the day, like, unless you have the complete picture, and it's from one person, so it's like on a path and really specific, I think that's what happens to a lot of people, is they kind of end up
yeah, exactly.
Right, like all over the place. So, I do want to share a bit about, we got on the phone, I feel like it was in like August. So, and then it's now, it's February now that we're recording this. So there was like a 6-month period of time where Kyle and I were communicating and following up, and Kyle was like so many of you, who he really wants this business. He has a very strong why, which I think his why is super cool. But he has a very strong why. He really wanted the business. He was doing what he could on his own. So like, he took amazing action on his own, but he knew he needed coaching. But Kyle, share with everybody, like, what was the big piece holding you back from getting the coaching that you needed?
For me, I think it was definitely the money piece, but now when I look at it, I realize it is about the money, but it really was something else, because, like, I have to admit, when we first got on the phone and I heard what it would cost to do the coaching, like, I was like, there's no way that I could possibly do it, so I kind of just counted it out. But as we continued talking, like, I realized it's something that it's necessary for us to do if we want to be able to succeed in our business.
Yeah. What do you feel like was the difference between you being in the money fear and saying, I can't, I don't know, and then you sent me an email late one night, it was like 10 o'clock one night, and you just said, I'm in. And for me, I'm like jumping around my house, screaming and yelling, and I had a friend here, and I was like, you're not gonna believe this, like, this guy that I've been dying to work with just said yes. And like, For me, it was a huge moment because it meant that something happened for you where you switched from being in the money fear to being like, I don't care about the money fear. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make it happen. Will you share with everyone a bit? Like, what was that switch? What happened for you?
Yeah, I think it was just getting to a point where I'm going to be graduating from college in a few months, and I really have to decide now, like, am I going to try to make this business work that I've been working at for 2 years, or am I going to go and get a regular job?
Yeah.
And for me, I just knew that personally a regular 9 to 5 job is something that I would rather not do, and I'd rather pursue my own passions.
Yeah.
So I think for me it was just giving myself that commitment, like, because once I committed to doing it, like, that's when I seen everything shift for me. And I don't know, I think it was really all worth it, even though we're only a couple weeks in.
Right? Isn't that so amazing? All right, so I love what you said there, though. You said it was the commitment. Like, so what I'm hearing you say is that the time piece and the urgency did start to get to you, because when we started talking, you were at the beginning of your senior year. And now it's like, okay, now you're in the last semester of your senior year, which I just have to say, I think it is so badass that, like, we are going to build you a business so you don't ever have to go to a corporate job if you don't want to, which I think is, like, the coolest thing ever. Like, I wish I had known about such things when I was your age, but it was not my path, so that's okay. But I just think that's the coolest thing ever. So yeah, that time of like, okay, we've got to get going, and that commitment, it is a commitment. So I know one of the things we've talked about too is, and I've said to you, do you trust yourself? And the commitment around, once you commit the money and once you commit to doing this, like, do you trust yourself that you'll make it work? Do you have anything to say about how maybe that, like, level of trust you have within yourself has shifted for you since signing up for coaching?
Yeah, I think now that I've signed up for coaching, I'm obviously starting to trust myself a little bit more because I've made the commitment. And for me, like, I think that was a huge fear, like saying, like, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to make it work, like, no matter how hard it is or however I have to do it.
Yeah.
And before, it was just something like, I don't feel like I was totally committed because I wasn't sure on what I wanted and if it was all possible for me. I think that was a huge thing for me, is like, I didn't think it was possible.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one, not thinking it's possible.
Yeah.
Are you starting to see now where it is completely possible?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten 2 clients since we started talking, so
What?
I would say so.
Yeah, so just to share with everybody, like, Kyle and I started off all of my private clients with a 3-hour intensive, and Kyle and I met for a 3-hour intensive, and he sent me a text the very next day and said, Amy, I booked a client, which is, like, unbelievable. And then, like, 2 or 3 days later, I'm getting another text from Kyle saying, Amy, with tons of exclamation points. Well, okay, in all fairness, the exclamation points were probably from my side of the text. But, yeah, it's just super exciting to see a shift that fast. So what do you feel like shifted? Like, we had one session, and granted it was 3 hours, but, like, one session, and suddenly, you go from talking to people on the phone and not having them close with you to getting people to say yes to you. What do you feel like that coaching session did for you that was able to give you what you needed to say yes, to get them to say yes to you?
I think it was just the whole package kind of becoming clear, like, first getting clear on who I was helping, what I was selling, because it was something I didn't know before. And then just being confident that I could help these people and, offer them my services and come from a place of service when you're selling to them.
Yeah, that's so key. And that's one of the things I talk to all my clients about is it's really being of service. It's really selling in service. And, I say, like, you know, they said yes to you, but it's really more they're saying yes to themselves, right? Like they are
Yeah.
saying yes to improving their health, just like you're saying yes to building your business and to having a lifestyle that you want. I love that so much. So, to wrap up here, like, well, there's a couple things. So, one is there an overall feeling, like, now having that container of coaching support versus doing it on your own? If you could describe the difference in the feelings, how would you describe that?
Um, well, when you're doing it on your own, you kind of have to look to yourself for all the answers and just, go with what you think is right. But I seen your other interview, with Alba, I think her name was, and
Oh,
she said
Alba.
you don't know what you don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I think it's so true because now, like, having you at my fingertips and getting on the phone, like, I can ask you anything I need to, and you're there to guide me, like, what the right steps are. So I'm not wasting my time doing things that, aren't the best decisions. And I guess having you to tell me what the best next step is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just a level of support there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you feel that because that is what I really try to do for all of my clients is really hold that container so you guys know you're supported and I've got you. Like at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Like I've got you. So for anybody out there who's considering coaching or considering joining the Birth Your Biz program, but maybe maybe they're freaked out about the money or, whatever other fears are coming up for them, what would you say to them?
I think you just have to look at like where you're at right now, and your webinar you mentioned, like, do you want to have a business or do you want to have a hobby? Like, I think you need to become clear on what it is that you want and why you want it, and if you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen no matter what it takes. I mean, I talked to you for 6 months before I finally decided to do it, and then once I made the commitment to myself and stepped into the coaching, that's when everything shifts. Once you have the support there and somebody telling you what the right steps are to make, I think that's really important.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. Love that so much. And I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled because we've been talking for months. So I was completely just thrilled and blown away when you agreed to step into that commitment for yourself. And I just love that you're seeing all these results so far. And it is, I haven't even told you this yet, but it does feel like I'm talking to a new Kyle since you signed with me because there is just a level of professionalism and confidence and clarity that I sense about you now that I don't feel like you had when we were just doing our random emailing for a few months. So I'm like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so thrilled to have you. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to chat. I share this with all of you who are watching. Like, I ask some of my clients to come on and provide, like, really to open up and share some of their, get vulnerable with you all and share their thoughts because it's really about being of service. Because everything that you're going through, I promise it's completely normal. Right, Kyle? Like, completely normal. It's just part of the process. But if you can move through it, and if you can make the commitment to yourself, and if you can, like, do what it takes to get into coaching and get that container of support for yourself, like, it just makes a world of difference. And Kyle is another great example of that. Yeah, Kyle's another great example of that. And if anybody needs raw vegan help, shoot me an email and I can get you in touch with Kyle because his recipes are the bomb and they look so delicious. And he's up to some really cool stuff. All right, everybody, thanks for hanging out with me for a few minutes here. I hope this was helpful to you. You know you can reach out to me anytime. Hit reply on this email or email me at amy@amyramsey.net and have a fabulous day. Bye, everyone.